have a hard time figuring out what they're going to do to keep them busy. For you, it's no secret that you are a businessman. Has that filled the void for you? Or was there ever even a void?
It's always a void because it's all about fulfilling challenges. So I almost didn't have a plan because I retired a year too early. So I went to Boston on a 2-year deal. I know it was at the end of my career, so I was just going to play with Paul and the guys just to see if I can help. But on the last year, I was going to do the whole Shaq tour thing. Had it set up. Party and we had the promoter in every city, had it all set up. Shaq tour in every city. Make a little money on the side, you know, appearances and parties and all that stuff. Had the career-ending injury. Said to myself, I'm old. I don't want to do the whole rehab thing and try to be the great Shaq player. Because one thing I am by myself is I'm honest. I'm Shaq, but I'm not Shaq.
Okay.
Shaq is not Shaq when he's averaging 7, 8, 9 points. That's not Shaq. I can still entertain and do stuff to make people giggle, but that's not Shaq. I'm robbing the people. I'm robbing the Celtics. You only paying me $1 million. I don't feel right. I'm not coming back. Here's your money back, sir. Thank you very much.
That's just crazy to hear you say.
I'm
where
honest.
I met you. I worked for the Celtics here last year.
I'm honest.
If we were to ask any of the Celtics people, which I still know to this day, they would not for a second say that you robbed them.
I know, but in my mind, like I'm used to parades and banners and making people complain to the refs and making people say, "Oh, we playing against Shaq. I don't want to play tonight." That's what I want to be remembered as. And growing up in that military family, father said, you always got to look a man or a woman in the face and be honest. And I felt like I was robbing them. I didn't feel right. Like, Doc told me when I come there, he said, we're not going to need you to do much, just rebound, and I accepted. I said, okay. I just wanted to I was ring chasing, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I was ring chasing.
They had a chance that year.
We did. And I think if I wouldn't have got hurt, and I think if they would have kept Perkins, I definitely think we could have won. I was ring chasing, I really was, but I wanted to help Paul because Paul was one of my favorite players, and I love KG, so I wanted to play with them, come do all I can just to help them get one. It'd be number 5 for me, and that's what I was trying to do. I said, okay, I got 4, just let me try to go play with a couple teams, stack the deck, see what I can do. But I didn't feel right. 6 points, 8 points, 9 points. I did what I did, got acclimated with the city, worked hard, and Boston is a town where they appreciate when you work hard. They saw that I was giving it my all.
Oh, yeah.
They knew that. And so when I tore my Achilles and Danny said, hey, man, I want you to come back, I was like, I felt like I was robbing them. I could have took the little 1-5 and did the little, 6 months and try to come back, but no, I don't want to waste people's time. Take the 1-5 and see if you can, get you another player, somebody better. But the only thing I regret about that is I wanted the farewell tour. Because I can remember watching the farewell Abdul-Jabbar tour, and I was like, wow. I wasn't saying I wanted that, but it was just so beautiful. It was just so nice to just go around the city and hear people tell stories. And I know in every arena there's a story to tell about Shaquille O'Neal. I wanted that.
Yeah.
I did.
I want that for you.
I did. I wanted that. So like when I was seeing D. Wade and Dirk and them on the tour, I was like,
that hurt.
So I said, okay, let me take a year off. Because based on what I was doing, I knew I had stuff to fall back on. Like I always wanted to do a restaurant in LA. So I'm down in LA Live and I was like, vacant? Oh.
That's mine.
Yeah, how much? Okay, cool. Pay the rent off for a year, let it sit. I didn't even have a plan for that restaurant.
No?
No, but I was like, because I called a realtor, I said, hey, how much? All right, we don't need to negotiate. I'm going to pay it off for the year. Hey, your voice sounds familiar. Yeah, it's Shaq. Oh.
You called yourself?
Yes, I called myself, and he's like, you Shaq, I love you. I'm not going to charge you full price. Since you're going to pay it off for the year, I'll give you 15% off. I would appreciate that, sir. So now, okay, go in here. What's the competition like? All right. Across the street, all right. I already got 5 restaurants in Vegas, so I'm in the restaurant business. So
sure.
we put our guys together. I got the space. Do what y'all do. And we came, I was like, why don't you name it Shaquille's? I'm like, what if people don't like me?
They're still going to eat there.
I know, but I'm just saying, I like to go left and right.
What if they don't like? That's big of you to know, though. I'd rather the business succeed than to have my name on it.
Exactly.
That's
yes,
amazing.
Yes. So I was like, they was like, no, we're naming it this, and that's it. And it's been very, very successful. So when I was young, I used to get punished for every athlete's mistake. Punished hard.
If you made a mistake?
No, if a professional athlete made a mistake.
Then you would get punished?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Because my father would always come in and start my discipline off, if you ever.
Oof.
Right. So if you ever hit a woman, I'll kill you. Go to the room. The worst spanking I got ever was Lynn Bias. You know what Lynn Bias is? So my father came in the house fuming. He had tears in his eye because he was a sports guy, and every young kid that made it was his son. And the reason why he felt that way, because he was already raising other people's sons. He was a drill sergeant. So he get 18, 19-year-olds, and he was raising them. So when you get a kid that come from the same area that's made to the NBA, that's his son. So when Lynn Bias passed away, if you ever do drugs, I will kill you. And that's why I don't do drugs or drink. If you ever drink and drive, so I was able to learn.
With the Jaylen Brown and what have you. They made me a little bit nervous last night once Jason Tatum fouled out from that game. I'm just of the mindset that when you really, really look at it right now, because of the way Boston plays defense, because you got two dudes that can give you a bucket, because of the defensive wizardry of Marcus Smart and the coaching of Udoka, I'm just of the mindset that right now, I shouldn't say coaching, because even though I love Udoka a lot, I love me some Eric Spoelstra as well, who I consider to be one of the best in the game. But the bottom line, I think right now, if somebody said to me, who you rolling with, it would be Boston. I'm hoping Miami, though.
Well, Boston is the best team in the NBA. Let's make that very, very
in the NBA.
Clear. In the NBA, you heard what I said.
That is not true.
When did you decide that? In all seriousness, I'm not messing with you.
No, really, because Molly, think about this. You remember we were on the show and I said that I would pick Boston to be my favorite, but the only reason that I didn't was because of the injury of Robert Williams. But what the Celtics have shown me is no other team in the NBA that's in the postseason that would have swept and did what they just did to the Brooklyn Nets. That's how great they are defensively. And I know we keep talking about how good or how much of a juggernaut Golden State, the Warriors are. But still in all, offense win you games, defense win you championships. And when I look at these guys as far as their defensive lineup, it's no other team that have the perimeter defenders like the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum right now is the best two-way player in the game. Jaylen Brown, we know how he locks down defensively. And don't get me started on Marcus Smart and what he could do to a person. And then you have Big Al Horford, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, and Daniel Tice, who all are defensive-minded people and are capable of sliding those puppies. So when I look at this Celtic team, I'm looking at their defense and I'm saying, who want to face them? Who can't they stop? Go look at the season series when they played against the Miami Heat. I think the Celtics was up 3-1 in that season series. Look, Jason Tatum is a top 3 player in the NBA. This mean version of Jason Tatum, nobody wants to see. And Jaylen Brown playing with a chip on his shoulder, the way that both of them are coexisting on the offensive end, nobody wants to see this team, bro, because nobody would have ever exposed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving like these brothers exposed them. Not one team that's in the playoffs would have swept this Brooklyn Nets team but the Boston Celtics.
I disagree. I think the Golden State Warriors would have swept them.
They ain't sweet Denver.
So what? Listen, first of all, the altitude in Denver, certainly that's number one. Number two, they sat up there and they took for granted because they knew they had them and what have you. We got all of that. That stuff happens.
Excuses.
All right, Jokic, 36 and 36 plus. We know what they bring to the table. The point that I'm trying to make, I didn't sit up there and say, excuse me, you got to remember, basketball character, Denver showed it. What did Coach Malone say after they lost Game 3? He said, yo, we going to find out what we made of. You going to fight or you going to just lay down and let this season come to an end? Are you going to fight or what? And Denver stood up because they got that kind of basketball character. Let's give credit where credit is due. We'd be talking a lot more about Denver's Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. were healthy, okay? We'd be talking a lot more about them. They are simply, they got 2 of their 3 stars injured. That's the reality of the situation. But you look at Barton and Morris and all these guys, they're not scrubs. They're not stars, but they're not scrubs. I know you didn't say that, but I'm saying they're not stars, but they're not scrubs. They can play. And, you know, they got a lot of heart. They ain't scared, and they go out there, and they going to fight you, all right? And that's what they did in Game 4. I'm telling you, it's not about, you're looking at Brooklyn from a talent perspective. I'm looking at Brooklyn from a character perspective. When you talk about nobody else would have beaten them, I say nobody else would have swept them. I say otherwise. And I say otherwise because we've had questions about the collective character, and it's not to knock any player specifically outside of Kyrie and Ben Simmons. We understand that they're dealing with a lot. But in the end, because of the distractions both have caused throughout this season, they have been a dysfunctional bunch in Brooklyn. And I think they could have been had. Once they lost Game 1, you just saw things just snowball from there.
Yeah, you know why it snowballed from there? Because of the Celtics and their tenacity and their defense, because they knew they was outmanned. Stephen A.
You also brought up Kyrie. You brought up Kyrie and how obviously he was going, you know, he's fasting and all